In the clip presented today on my YouTube channel, I will talk about how safe are airplanes. Stay like this, but stay with me in the next few minutes to be up to date. In 1 year, approximately 500,000 people die on the world's roads. By contrast, in 1996, the number of deaths in airplane accidents was 1,945. In 1997, the number dropped to 1,226. According to statistics compiled by the aircraft manufacturer Boeing, for commercial jet aircraft, for every 1 million of flights, at most 2 planes crash. However, all air disasters are highly publicized, while the daily carnage on the roads is considered commonplace. In the United States, only bus travel is considered slightly safer than air travel. Why is a plane safer than a car? An obvious reason would be that, unlike cars on the road, airplanes don't usually fly side by side. Another reason would be the fact that most aircraft crew members are very well trained and approach their responsibilities with high professionalism. A captain on a Boeing 747 is usually over 50 years old and around 30 years of flying experience. Safety is the main objective of all crew members. After all, their lives are also in danger. Safety in cockpit. If you look inside the cockpit of a passenger plane, you will notice that all the main instruments and controls are double, one set on the left for the captain, and one on the right for the co-pilot. Thus, in the event that one of the pilots passes out, the other has all the necessary controls to fly safely. During the flight, each pilot can watch the other's instruments, making sure that they indicate the same thing on both panels, says the Air Traveler's Handbook. Another thing that contributes to safety is the fact that the 2 pilots, the captain and the co-pilot, usually have different menus, this being a precautionary measure. Why is this done? So that, in the event that one of them has indigestion, the other is not affected. To guarantee control over moving elements such as flaps, landing gear and brakes. Passenger aircraft usually have 2 or more hydraulic systems in case one fails. A standard safety rule for most modern aircraft is doubling or even tripling these systems. What can you do as a passenger? Here are some simple precautions any passenger can take. Read the emergency instruction sheet and pay attention when the flight attendants explain the safety measures at the beginning of the flight. When you take your seat, check where the nearest exit door is. And in case of emergency, follow the instructions given by the flight attendants. They are all well trained to deal with difficult situations that may arise. When certain instructions are given, it is very important that passengers move quickly and not worry about their belongings. Life is much more important than material things. Modern airplanes generally fly over or near areas where atmospheric conditions can be unfavorable, so most long-haul flights are very smooth. As a result, very few people get airplane sickness. If turbulence is expected, the captain usually advises passengers to check that their seat belts are fastened as a precautionary measure. Could air travel be safer? The answer is yes, but most passengers will not agree with the change that is required. What would this change be? The seats should be placed against the direction of flight. What advantage would this arrangement present? During a sudden deceleration, passengers would be held by the back of the seat, and not just by a lap belt, which provides incomplete protection compared to most car seat belts, which also have a strap across the chest. However, people prefer to see where they are going instead of looking at where they have been. Are you afraid of flying? It is estimated that 1 in 6 adults in the United States is afraid of flying. For some, it is more than fear. It is a phobia, an exaggerated fear that can lead to panic reactions. What can help us? Being informed passengers goes a long way in overcoming anxiety. Worldwide, approximately 15,000 aircraft serving nearly 10,000 airports transport more than 1.2 billion people annually, with relatively few accidents or incidents. According to insurance company Lloyd's of London, air travel is 25 times safer than car travel. If you're nervous about air travel, read on books about flying, airplanes and pilot training. Read about the very high level of training required of pilots and the rules regarding sleep hours, pre-flight alcohol restrictions that pilots must comply with, and random drug tests. Also, there are biannual checks that the pilots must pass. It is a flight simulator that tests pilots' reactions in emergency situations. The simulations are so real that some pilots leave the simulator shaking and drenched in sweat. If a pilot fails the simulator test, he may lose his commercial pilot's license. In the case of pilots, the requirements are much higher than in the case of car drivers. Therefore, the more you learn about airplanes and pilots, the more your confidence can grow. You could also visit an airport, observe what the passenger procedures are, and watch how people react. You will notice that most of them get off the plane as if they were getting off a bus. Traveling by plane is something common for them. Watch the planes take off and land. Seek to understand the principles of aerodynamics that underlie flight and make flight safe. Appreciate these scientific principles. When you finally get to fly for the first time, tell the flight attendants that it's your first time flying, and you might be a little nervous. These well-trained crew members know how to help you relax and have confidence in the measures taken for flight safety. Try to relax. When the captain says the plane is ready to go, get up and take a walk down the aisle. You are probably about to conquer your fear of flying.